To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
This is the best of Golic and Wingo podcast.
Good morning, Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Mike Golic Jr., Trey Wingo here. World Cup fever, man. Catch it. Let's go.
Let me tell you.
Let's go.
I'm actually very excited. I do love watching the World Cup. It is a bummer we are not in it. We have a lot of questions about the sport of soccer today as we go forward. And we talked about yesterday how in 2026 the World Cup will be here in Canada and Mexico. But, I mean, think about it. My last channel button will be getting worked for World Cup and U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I mean, for the next 4 days, at least for the U.S. Open and World Cup. But this is I think it's just fantastic.
For a Thursday in June, you can't ask for much better than
Will
what we
Smith
got
on
going
the track?
today.
Are you kidding me? Will Smith on the track.
This is really good.
Yeah.
So the World Cup starts today. Obviously, we aren't in it. Neither is Switzerland. Neither is Italy.
Yeah.
So we want to know throughout the day, who are you rooting for and why? So phone in and let us know. 860-506-5505. And I don't want to hear, well, I'm half German on my mother's side, so I'm rooting for no, you can't go down that road. You have to give us a real reason why you're interested in one of these teams or one of the superstars that are on the team. Like I'm all in on Messi. That's why I'm going here. I'm all in on Cristiano Ronaldo. That's why I'm going for Portugal. That's what I want to hear.
I got a Brazilian wax one time.
There you go. Also, it looks like you just had a Brazilian wax on your head.
Top of your head.
High and tight, baby.
And we're going to do
your second haircut in about a month, right?
I don't know. I don't really keep track like that.
I mean, it's real. I think it's the second time he's cut what's left up there in a month. Man, let that stuff fester.
I was going to say, I don't know why you're so concerned with my haircut count. It's sort of creepy.
You do seem overly concerned about it.
I'm just kind of shocked that
the lack of hair in his head and what he's doing with it.
That you would have two of those things.
Oh,
Got to be on TV, man. I got sports going out for Sports Nation tomorrow, man. I'm on the TV where the high def cameras actually hit, so I got to have everything in check. I can't have the bad fairway up front there. So the Tiger folder is now given way to Mike's hair folder.
Yeah,
on
really, it's got multiple folders.
Well, in there. Big folder guy.
And I just say I want to pretend like I was listening to what you just said, but I just watched the end of the Dan Le Batard show on Ninja Warrior, and it was just painful.
It's going to take up a large portion of all of our days.
For those who don't know, I mean, the Dan Le Batard show, guys on that show did the American Ninja Warrior course. They did it a couple months ago, and it just came out. It's
Holy
unreal.
mackerel.
We have Stugotz on today, like we normally do every week. So talking to him about it, he didn't do it, is going to be a whole lot of fun. So because I would love to do that course, but I would have no shot at it. We'll show you where you can certainly see it on Twitter as well. But also, as far as the World Cup, we're doing a draft, correct?
We're going to do a draft?
We're doing a draft today? We're picking teams today. Yes, we are.
Rule number 1, pick Brazil or Germany, and you're good.
Well, all depends on who gets the first and second pick, doesn't it?
Brazil and Germany, normally you're doing pretty good if you get to pick one of those. Again, we are presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. So we'll get in much more of the World Cup. And what does it mean? Because I got to tell you, I was in St. Louis when the World Cup came in 1994, and everyone was saying, because St. Louis considers itself the soccer capital of the United States, and a couple of guys from St. Louis, Brian McKenna and Mike Sorber, who were on that 94 team, were from St. Louis. So it was a big deal there, and you hear all these things. Hey, this is going to change soccer in this country. I'm kind of still waiting for. I mean, it's grown a little bit.
Oh, it's definitely grown.
But I'm kind of still waiting for it to be what everyone keeps telling me it's going to be. Right? Haven't we been doing this discussion for a while?
We have, and we have some of our own analysts saying they think it could be one of the top 4 majors by the time we get there in 2026. I'm going to do a lot of questions to soccer people out there because I'm willing to learn more about it. I watch it very casually. I certainly watch the World Cup. I would love to learn more about it. I have questions about America's best player who's playing in Germany right now.
The Bundesliga.
So, I mean, I really want to learn a little bit more about this thing, but that is going to be the big question. How much is it growing? I mean, and for this World Cup, obviously Russia has sold the most tickets. After that, it's Americans has sold the most tickets for this thing. So it is definitely getting popular, certainly with the younger crowd in America. And where will this take us? I don't know.
Yeah, as far as our attendance in these certain things, that makes an easier amount of sense to me because we do big events well. We love wrapping ourselves in the flag, and in all honesty, we love events that allow us to do that and get really drunk at the same time, which is what we do. We throw a good party, and we like to believe that even if we don't care about something as much as you, we are going to do it better than you. That is the true definition of being an American, right? Is like we think we can do pretty much everything better than you.
American exceptionalism.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So now if you take that and couple it with, all right, this is 8 years down the road, too, that we're looking. We've seen all that develop, but when we know everything's kind of ratcheted up, the pace of everything is ratcheted up. So I'm not as concerned about will it be one of the 4 majors, but is it going to continue to be a part? Because it has definitely carved out a niche in the American psyche of what we're willing to pay attention to, whether it's the MLS growing here now, whether it's people paying more attention to soccer in the leagues like the EPL over there. I feel like it's got enough of a space to where we're already contending with it in the way we were.
And again, go back to, we said it yesterday, 1994, when it was here. Yep. Best attendance, 3.6 million.
Without question.
So we definitely will show up for it. There's no doubt about that.
As Junior said, we throw a good party and we travel that party.
Yeah, there you go.
We went to South Africa. Where was it in 2014? Where was it in 2014? Was it in Germany in 2014?
I do not know the answer to that.
It was in Brazil. That's right. It was in Brazil in 2014. That's right. All those massive stadiums that are now basically concrete graveyards.
Not doing anything
that
right
they built
now.
For the money for
that is the beautiful part about us. And I know when it came down, us and so it was the United bid. It was us, Canada, and Mexico against Morocco,
right.
And a big feather in our cap outside of all of the money that we could promise, FIFA we would make in revenue for them was the fact that we've got stadiums to boot.
Ready to go.
We'll be able to host this and then some, and Morocco would be facing some of those stadium graveyards. So USA, baby.
Let's be honest. We could host it every year.
Yes, we could.
We have the. In fact, we should just make it the U.S. Cup and invite the rest of the world. Right? That's the way it should be. It's the U.S. World Cup. Rest of the world come in here because we got it taken care of, and we won't have these things just become
those arrogant Americans.
How dare you? The ugly American card has been played, and we start what's trending that way, and we'll get on to other things. How about Juan Soto, 19-year-old Nationals rookie, pair of home runs in the 5-4 road win over the Yankees, the 4th teenager ever to have multi-homer games at Yankee Stadium, and the first to do it since Ken Griffey did it many, many years ago.
Yeah, you had Melott actually on the road, youngest with multi-homer games on the road. Melott did it 2 times in 1928, and then Griffey in 1989, and then Soto last night. I'm going to tell you what, I was watching that game. No way that first one was out. I was watching that.
Ball, right?
I thought it was a foul ball. And he even said it. They interviewed him after the game. He's like, I didn't think I hit it that well. He said that it just carried and carried and carried and went out. So they're down 3-1. He gets a 3-run shot. They go up 4-3. It's tied 4-4. He puts them up 5-4. 19-year-old. You got to love it. The last one against the Yankees, as you mentioned, was Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, you got to love the possible potential of this guy at 19 years old.
You say a month into his stint in the big leagues right now.
32 games, I think he played in the minors. That's it.
Yeah. And so for a team that we already talked about, we mentioned this is kind of a World Series preview in a lot of people's minds. You get the trajectory of that young guy, something that the Bronx is usually well versed in. Usually if we were to say young stud belts 2 home runs in the Bronx, you would expect this to be a net positive for the Yankees.
Correct.
And instead they face the one weapon that right now went out against them and had a little bit of prosperity.
Yeah, so good for him, and we'll see how he goes, continues to play going forward. Again, I'm watching it again. That was, I don't know how that wasn't a foul ball.
It's amazing.
Right.
The second one, no doubt.
I say, no question about the second one.
No
dead
doubt.
center out of there.
Yeah. So let's continue to check some things that may have happened while you were sleeping. Brought to you by Tempur-Pedic, loved by our owners and ranked highest in customer satisfactions with mattresses by J.D. Power. Find out why at TempurPedic.com. And not only do we have the World Cup, we also have the U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills beginning today, the 118th playing of the U.S. Open. Tiger Woods, world number 1 Dustin Johnson, and world number 2 Justin Thomas will tee off at 147. That is one hell of a grouping.
Yeah, it really is. And as far as, Tiger, the talk of Tiger again, his last U.S. Open on last major, 2008. He's played in 25 majors since that win. And in the majors up to that U.S. Open, where, of course, he won 14 of them, he was 126 under par. In the 25 majors, that's really good. In the 25 majors after that, he's missed 6 cuts, and he's 35 over par, so we know it hasn't gone as well. We'll see. You struck the ball well, didn't putt it well at Memorial, so we'll see where it goes. But love to see off the tee of him and Dustin Johnson. And Dustin Johnson, number one in the world right now. The last number one to win a U.S. Open was Tiger in 2008. Oh, by the way, Dustin Thomas he's been playing. He has 7 wins since last season, the most of anybody out there. Hasn't, outside of his one major win, hasn't played the majors great at all. So it's a great grouping, as well as Mickelson, Spieth, and Rory. Together as well.
You think of that group with DJ and Tiger though, and you think bombs off the tee. And I was hearing Andy North talk earlier that the weather today is actually going to make this course probably play a little bit softer. So those guys that can hammer it off the tee, maybe this could be the medicine for Thursday, Friday Tiger, who seems to constantly let down weekend Tiger.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. He's been much better on the weekends. He struggles to make the cut. But to your point about bombs away, because those fairways usually run very fast. They've had a little rain, which means for crying out loud, Dustin Johnson hits his 3-wood 316 yards. Okay. Yeah. Never take out your driver. Just hit it 316 with your 3-wood, and now that's going to stop instead of running into that rough, because that rough at Shinnecock is like hay. It's ridiculous. You won't be able to find your ball if it goes in there. It's supposed to be windier over the weekend, which means it'll dry out, but right now, today might be the day to try and get a score and hold on because of the rain that they've had that softened up the fairways and the greens that Junior was talking about. Well, boxing, Triple G and Canelo Alvarez, they're on again, off again, on again, off again rematch. On again! September 15th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, according to ESPN's Dan Raffel. Both parties went back and forth after that tested positive for Alvarez for a banned substance in February.
Yeah, just a one loss between the two of them. Alvarez lost to Floyd Mayweather, 49-1-2. Triple G, 38-0-1 in this one. Remember, again, for a quick history, they fought, this fight will be basically a year from the last fight. They fought September 16th of last year. The rematch was set for May 5th, and then, we had the ingestion of the bad beef. The bad beef. Yeah, that set off this. You wondered if anything was going to happen then with this rematch, and then the negotiating for this, it took, as they put it, a Hail Mary to get this thing done before both parties were going to move on.
I mean, they were literally on the phone with some of our people saying this is off, this isn't going to work, and then a call at the absolute last hour makes this happen.
Had to happen.
It had to happen, and between this, the heavyweight bout we talked about the other day, I mean, this fight took place not long after Mayweather-McGregor last year, right?
Yeah.
It was not long after that fight that was supposed to captivate the world, and we all figured the hangover after that would prevent anything else that boxing trotted out from being viable. And Triple G and Alvarez really was an entertaining product for all of us after that.
It was, and oh, by the way, it was a draw for those that don't remember. So,
Well, it had all of the controversy, too, that you wanted to lead to this point. Made a lot of people put on their tinfoil hats, but this is going to be great. An exciting time. Boxing right now, a lot of momentum.
A lot more momentum, actually, than a lot of other sports that thought were going to take over from boxing, and they've done a great job with this. So hopefully this fight now is on again permanently. We won't have to go for this back and forth. And then as we set up the top, 21st World Cup begins today as host Russia faces Saudi Arabia at Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow.
Good try.
Thank you. Zablin Stadium.
Yeah.
Zablin Stadium. 5-time winner Brazil is the betting favorite, followed closely by defending champions from Germania. Yeah.
France is 6-1, Argentina 8-1, Spain 13-2 in this. So, listen, again, it's something I like to watch. I enjoy the talent out there of how they play, but now the men's side of it was like you kept your fingers crossed on how they were going to do, or the women, the expectation is they're going to be, playing for the title. But no men to watch this year, but still very, very popular. We're going to talk about it a ton. As I said, I have some really, I think, interesting questions about soccer going forward and where it is now and where it can end up from the U.S. side of it, but no U.S. this time, but looking forward to tuning in.
Crazy start already. Spain just go ahead and fire their head coach.
Yeah, how about
right
that?
Before this gets going, decides he's going to sign with Real Madrid, doesn't tell the Spanish Federation, and they just freak and punt on this. And I thought it was interesting because they said a lot of the Spanish players were hoping that their coach would be able to stay on for this tournament.
Well, he's never lost. I mean, he's never lost a match.
I think a 20-game unbeaten streak to start his career. So it's it's been an interesting time for them. But going into that, I mean, could you imagine going into what was essentially a playoff run in your sport, and as a player, and you can understand the federation because they're basically saying you took this job without giving us any sort of notice on this. But if you're a player, you're willing to kind of let bygones be bygones because, man, you know your best chance usually and probably is going to come with this guy in your corner.
This is the macro to the micro. The micro is the player saying, well, wait a minute. We got a World Cup here. Yeah. You guys deal with that later. Right. Let us have our manager right now to help us through the World Cup.
Well, one of the things that's really interesting, one of the players, Gerard Pique, tweeted this, and I'm going to say it in Spanish and then I'll have it translated. Universidad de Michigan, baloncesto, 1989, campeón de la NCAA. No será la primera vez que ocurre, todos unidos ahora más que nunca. In other words, University of Michigan, basketball, 1989, NCAA champion. Wouldn't be the first time it happened. All together now more than ever. Basically talking about how Bo Schembechler, as Gerard Piquet put that out there, the defender, basically Bo Schembechler fired, what was his name? Bill Friedman.
Right.
Bill Friedman, and Steve Fisher came on and they won the NCAA
tournament.
I was not going to expect that pull from Gerard Piquet.
That was a pretty good pull
for him,
so
congratulations.
Give him credit for that.
So that's sort of their mindset right now, as we are Golic and Wingo, presented by Progressive Insurance. Commercial insurance through Progressive protects your business and your dream. Choose from over 30 coverage options at progressivecommercial.com. So that's sort of where we are. We'll get into the U.S. Open a little bit later, but it is the biggest sporting event in the world. There's no other way around it. The World Cup is the biggest of big deals. But the question then becomes, not so much for what's going to happen this World Cup, but what will happen in 8 years when we get the tournament back. We had it in 1994. And we're going to get it back in 2026. I get it. It's also going to be in Canada and Mexico.
We have 60 of the 80 games.
They're just sort of along for the ride. Let's be clear.
Oh, Mexico, nice.
Welcome in.
Arrogant American.
Am I wrong? And where's the final going to be? MetLife Stadium. Okay.
America's hat and beard.
There you go.
Getting after it.
America's hat and beard. America's hat and belt buckle. So the question then becomes, what happens going forward? Because we've heard this forever.
Yeah, we have.
We've heard it forever. And look, the MLS is doing decent. They're doing a good job. But is the MLS and soccer love in this country where everyone thought it would be after we got the World Cup in 1994? I don't think that's true.
That's the question I've always asked. Now I asked and then that's the way I ask it. I'm not asking of me saying this. I'm asking soccer fan out there. Is it where you thought it would be?
Correct.
when we got the record, and we still hold the record for the most attendance in 94, when the women won the World Cup in 99, the Pro League started after that, and it was Riley, you can tell me how many years the Women's Pro League lasted before it folded.
And they tried two different leagues, and they both folded.
Did. So you have that initial momentum, and then it kind of levels out. So for the soccer people out there, and I truly really want to know from your side of it.
Correct.
Has it grown? Because listen, the more sports, the better for me. The more involvement by everybody. People that sit there and think, oh, they don't like soccer. Listen, soccer means more involvement for kids. There's tons of kids that are playing, and if it can be popular in this country, we are all for it. That's why I hope there's other football leagues that make it opportunity for more people, kids, everybody to play something and have it grow in this country. Is soccer grown to your satisfaction? Has it grown as much as you thought, or has it kind of leveled off or petered out in some way?
Well, and I think building off that, better leagues make better leagues. The more competition you have for the attention of American fans, the more competition you have amongst leagues on the top end. The MLS does get better. If leagues start adapting like the way the NBA has and drive innovation, it makes leagues like the NFL, who, because of their size and success, can get stagnant after a while, have to innovate. So the bigger this gets, the better it is for everyone else. Whether it gets to that point or not remains to be seen. I look at this as the way that, the way I consume things now as someone who falls under that millennial tag, and the way that I hear the conversation about this go with people my age, is it kind of falls into the way everything else does right now. There's a lot of content available, and we more than ever kind of just pull from all different directions. That's why TV ratings for most things are either flat or dipping, is because we're putting a lot of our attention in a lot of different places. And I think soccer has proven it's going to hold one of those places comfortably.
It'll hold a place, but the question becomes, is it the place that everybody thought it would be at this point? For example, right now, MLS average attendance this season is about 20,000, slightly down from last year's 22,000. Most highly attended game this season was in Atlanta. 72,000 people showed up in March. As for ratings, we can't find anything for this season, but according to this article we found on USA Today, viewers averaged under 300,000 for nationally televised regular season matches last season, which sounds pretty good, but that's fewer than the average for a New York Yankees game on the regional sports network. So the question really becomes has soccer taken off to the – look, it's exciting. It's fun. And there's a passionate fan base about it. There's no question about it. But what is it going to take for soccer to – I mean, we hear Taylor Twellman talking about it, saying, I believe it's not going to be the fifth sport. It's going to be one of the four major sports. Well, when is that going to take place? Yeah. When is that going to happen? What would it take for that to happen here?
Yeah, lot to get into, and we will there since we're losing Mike here to a plane ride. We got to get your quick take on this. Okay,
what do we got?
Tony Finau, who we had on, the golfer who dislocated his ankle and came on. We talked to him. You and I did the interview with him. He and his buddy set a world record for a 110-yard shot. He hit him, and his buddy caught 12 of them. Who was a former minor league player. Right. In 1 minute, caught 12 balls, broke the world record.
Okay, so it's basically how many you can catch in a minute.
In a minute.
Okay.
To which Mike and Devin said they can do it.
Bubble Boy?
They have said that they can break this record. Yeah. Devin, you're going to hit, correct?
That is correct.
And Mike, the former offensive lineman, the worst athlete on the field, is going to catch, correct?
Yeah, I'd like to point out lateral quickness is our forte.
Okay. So we want to do this next week. You live by the golf course. Can you go on that hole by your house and do it there?
Don't tell anybody. We'll just sneak on the course.
No, I would. That's cool. But
we're going to sneak on the course.
No, nobody will know.
Don't tell anybody.
Okay, but we can do that though.
Yeah, sure.
We're getting your okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so then it's going to be on next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Perfect.
You get 1 minute to hit as many balls as you can.
They
you
think they can get 13?
They think they can break the record.
Did you drug test before you said this?
Devin was out there getting his touches in yesterday. Devin posted videos on his Twitter page. Looked strong yesterday.
Hey, Devin, where were you hitting those balls?
110 yards.
No, exactly. Where were you?
Where
were you hitting?
Where were you?
Driving range.
Oh, driving range.
Yeah.
You know what Tiger Woods calls himself these days?
Oh, boy.
Ranger Rick, because he's great on the range, not so good on the course.
Yeah, Tiger's old and broken. Devin is young and strong.
Yes.
Big boy talk.
Tiger's old and broken, and Devin is young and
So
dumb.
you have the 35th ranked golfer in the world in Finau. You have a former minor league baseball player catching the balls, set a world record, and you and Devi think you can break this record.
Zero chance.
Tony Finna, him and his famous relatives.
Finau.
Tony Finna lose this record to us.
Yeah, you have zero chance.
And what? So we say a guy who's got famous relatives. I heard all yesterday about all the
Simone Pua and Melodinata.
I got famous relatives, and I was a minor league player in my own right. So what do we have that they don't?
Skill.
Yeah.
No.
Check the tape. Check the heart. We'll see you guys Tuesday.
A professional golfer and a minor league baseball player got 12. If you guys get 4,
I'm putting the over under 3.5.
Yeah. If you guys get 4, I'll be impressed. 4. If you get 1/3,
really quickly, the bet is that if they do it, I take my paycheck, split it, and give them half each.
Well, that's the safest bet you'll ever make.
And if they don't do it, which they won't, they have to wash my car for a month in Speedos.
Yes. Oh God, why would you wish that upon yourself?
I'm not watching.
Well, I was about to say,
rich.
just don't film it.
Yeah.
All right.
Rich, I tell you.
Oh, good luck.
Rich.
All right. That's never going to happen.
Golic
and Wingo.
and Wingo.
Mm-hmm. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr.
This is an interesting phenomenon I stumbled upon that if you just add book it to the end of any phrase, the shorter the better, it makes it immediately a hot take.
Owen says, Jaguars win the Super Bowl, book it.
I like Tim's poutine.
Book it. Man, that's a strong point from Tim.
That is. LeBron is Toronto's kryptonite.
No.
Book it.
I like Steve's better. Josh Allen will break a table before the season starts. #Bills Mafia. Book it.
Sports Center is brought to you by Ultimate Software and Business. Just like in sports, success comes down to having a talented team and a strong game plan. That's where Ultimate Software comes in with HR, payroll, and talent management technology that puts your people first.
All right, Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Again, the World Cup, the world's sporting party, underway today. We're excited about it, even though the U.S. and my second favorite team, Italy, is not in it. Mm-hmm. So we've been asking people to call in 860-506-5505. Because the USA isn't in it, who are you rooting for and why? We've gotten a couple of those voicemails, and here's one just to get you going on what we want to hear.
I'd take in the World Cup England. I don't think anything would be better than see a bunch of British hooligans celebrating in Moscow drinking some Russian vodka.
That is certainly
one
way to go.
Okay.
That is certainly one way to go.
We asked for your reasons.
It's like that line from Eurotrip, soccer hooligans.
Oh, my gosh.
All right, hey, if you want to hooligan it up in Russia, good luck.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
Let's see how that plays out. So, hey, you know what? He's taking the hooligans, and you can book it.
Yes, you can.
Speaking of book it, are we ready? We ready to play book it?
Let's book it.
Now, Junior is not here.
No.
So playing the part of Junior will be Devi.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's
Debbie.
up, Devin? What's up, Bubble Boy? Here we go.
Basically, you're going to read us a statement, and we're
take.
going to say whether we book it or we do not, and there's some fun little sound to go along with it.
All right, here we go. First one. Tiger Woods will finish in the top 5 at the U.S. Open. Book it?
I would love to see it, but there's no way I can book that. I mean, there's no way. If we keep saying he's getting there, his putting let him down last week, and man, you got to be a good putter in this one, and maybe he'll putt better here. We know he's hitting the ball in the fairway better, but I just don't see it. Not at this point. No, I can't book it.
Top 5?
Top 5.
Book it!
You can book it.
There we go. Tiger Woods is going to be in the top 5, and then he's going to win the Open and then the PGA. I'm hopeful. But no, book it. He's going to be in the top 5. Absolutely.
Because you have your Tiger file and you want to fill it out more.
Yeah, buddy.
Last top 5 at the Open was 2010. Last top 5 at a major was the Masters 2013.
Yeah, 2010 was at Pebble Beach, and he put in a charge there on Saturday, but couldn't back it up. Okay, what do you got? What's next?
LeBron James will be playing for the Lakers next season. Book it.
They're the heavy favorite right now at minus 130. They're the Vegas favorite. I don't see it. I mean, again, now we hear more and more about, it's going to be about lifestyle as well. I am not one of those that believes that he wants to get in the entertainment world. He already is. That he needs to be in L.A. right now for that. And to me, that he and Paul George on the Lakers is not going to win the NBA. Not going to get to the finals of the NBA, in my opinion. So I can't book that one. I think there would be better teams for him to win a championship to go to. Man, I feel like a loser.
I kind of feel like everything is telling me that's what's going to happen there.
I know, it does.
So I'm with you. It doesn't make the most sense to me. Philadelphia would seem to make a lot of sense, especially if he wants to try and continue to win champ. But I think I'm going to book it. You can book it. I think I'm going to book it that LeBron James will be in Los Angeles. Everybody seems to be thinking that's the way it's going to go. People that know more about this than me are all in on that, so I'm all in. Book it.
All
Stay
right.
Wingo.
Here we go. Despite sacking their manager 2 days before the World Cup, Spain will still win it.
Well, I did pick them with the first overall pick.
You did.
So let me just get this out of the way.
ahead.
Book
You
it.
can book it.
Gerard Piqué and I, baby. Channeling the 1989 Michigan Wolverines. Bill Frieder was fired. Steve Fisher comes in. They roll past Seton Hall in the NCAA championship. You can book it.
Spain has the third best odds, 6-1. Our own soccer analyst, Taylor Twellman, has picked them to win. I did not pick them as one of my teams because they were off the board, so I can't book this. I'm sorry. Not booking it.
Something.
Well, I'm not. Listen, don't make me book
Don't tell him
something.
what he has to
Don't
book.
tell me what I have to do.
You're not the boss of him.
I'm not booking it.
Although
Spain
you even are.
is not going to win. Players got to feel real great that their manager got sacked 2 days before this thing started. Good stuff.
Just a rallying cry. Just a rallying cry. By the way, they never lost a match with him, so if they lose a match in the World Cup, I mean, it'll be a little odd. All right, Devin, what's next?
The Mets will trade Jacob deGrom before the non-waivered trade deadline, which is July 31st. Book it.
So the Mets are 9.5 back of the Braves, who are leading the NL East. DeGrom this is amazing. He's only allowed 6 earned runs in his last 10 starts. But the Mets are 2-8 in those games.
It's unbelievable.
It's incredible, and all the other pitchers are falling by the wayside with injuries. But book it! Go ahead!
You can book it.
Book it! They're going to make the move and give Met fans more reason to be disgruntled with their team.
Yeah, by the way, disgruntled is one of those favorite words because you're putting a prefix in front of gruntle. Gruntle is not a word, so why are you disgruntled? Wouldn't you just be gruntled? Right? It makes no sense.
There's not many.
Stay Wingo.
There's not many people more hated than the English police.
And that's me.
So just move it along.
It just makes no sense.
Just move it along.
How can you be disgruntled if you're not gruntled? I am also going to book this. Book it, baby.
Book it.
I mean, he should sue for lack of support, right? I mean, he has been getting nothing from his teammates, and I think the Mets are in a spiral that they're not going to recover from. So yeah, book it. Do we have one more?
We got one more. Quick.
Yeah, we go.
You would rather have more bowl games than more teams in the NCAA tournament. Book it.
Well, say that again.
You would rather have more bowl games than more teams in the NCAA tournament.
Because they added 3 more bowl games, right?
Yeah, they're looking at 79 bowl times, which means by 2020 there could be as many as 43 bowl games.
Holy mackerel.
Book it.
You can book it.
I have no anybody who complains about the bowl games, why? You don't have to watch them. Don't tune in. So I don't know why people are, there's too many bowl games. Don't watch them then. So what?
Are we going to have a 4-8 team in a bowl game at some point?
We probably won't, but if we do, so what? Don't watch it.
Remember when there were like 5 when we were kids?
Oh, I know.
It's insane now. I mean, it's like if your recruiting pitch to a kid is, hey, we went to a bowl game. We were 3-6, but we went to a bowl game.
You got 10 seconds? You booking it or not?
I'm booking it.
Golic
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it.
and Wingo.
What a day, what a show, what a time.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
You know who's all in on soccer?
Mm-hmm.
He's the biggest soccer guy out there. Not a lot of people don't know this, but he is the biggest soccer World Cup enthusiast, maybe in the history of the world. It's Stugotz, who joins us now from the Daily Talk Show. Stugotz. Stu, you're all in, right? You are biggest soccer guy out there, right?
Yeah, I'm all in on this. Mike, that was so well done. I'm so proud of you. You guys are laughing at that transition from, speaking of snakes. Why am I laughing at it? That's the question, right? Why do I find that so funny? Mike, that was so well done. Guys, I'm tired of soccer, to be honest with you. I gotta be honest. I'm not interested in this World Cup at all because since I was born, since 1972, everyone's been telling me that U.S. soccer is on the rise. United States men's soccer is on the rise. They're not even in the World Cup. And now we have to host a World Cup in like 8 years for them to actually be a part of the World Cup. So I'm not in on this at all. I'd be in on it if the United States were good at soccer, but we're not good at soccer. Therefore, I am not in on this thing at all.
Well, the women are great at soccer, so we have to separate that. The
women are fantastic. It's the men I've been waiting for since 1972, Mike.
Okay, so this is what I asked of soccer fan. Can any soccer fan legitimately say, Stu, in your mind, that soccer has grown how they thought it would grow, right, that it's gotten big and big and bigger and bigger since the World Cup was here in 94? Or can they not say that? Can they say that it's grown as big as they thought it would, or it's petered out a little bit?
I don't think anyone could say it has grown as big as they thought it was going to grow. Like, Mike, when I was growing up, it was like everyone would talk about it every couple of years. Hey, the growth of soccer in the United States. And we had the Cosmos when I was growing up in New York and the New York Arrows in the indoor soccer league. And it felt like it was growing. But when you got to the big stage, the United States was never really, the men's side was never really a big part of it when it came to the World Cup. And here we are in 2018, and they're still not a big part of the World Cup. In fact, they're not even in the World Cup. And so, no, I don't think you can say it's grown the way people have expected it to grow. Listen, I have no doubt that it's grown inside the United States, especially at a youth level. The problem is at the biggest stage, at the highest level, it's just not where I think people expected it to be.
Yeah, and Stugotz, I was in St. Louis in 1994 when the World Cup first came to the United States, and I think 3 or 4 of the guys on the World Cup team were from St. Louis, and people kept telling me since 2004, this is it. This is going to be the year. This is going to thing that turns us over. And we're still kind of waiting, right? I mean, so what do you think it's going to take for soccer to grab hold like all the other major sports have in this country?
I have no idea because Mike Ryan, who loves soccer, he's into the World Cup. He's the producer on our show, and he's into the World Cup regardless of the United States, whether they're in it or not. He keeps telling me, guys like Zlatan coming over and playing in the MLS and playing in the United States is going to help soccer and growth of soccer and the popularity of soccer inside the United States. I don't know if that translates into a bunch of kids going out there and wanting to play soccer at the highest level. Like, if you're a world-class athlete, I think soccer's probably the last place you go because, I mean, what's in it for you? Like, financially, what is there to gain by playing soccer if you are good enough to play another sport? So I don't know. Trey, I honestly don't know. Because there's a decline, right, in the amount of kids playing youth football, and you think that would translate into soccer, and it's just not happening. Like, I don't know what it's going to take for us to be a powerhouse at soccer. Perhaps we should consult the women's team. Maybe that would be a good idea.
Follow their lead. We'll see if we can figure it out from there. Stugotz is with us. And by the way, if you're not watching on ESPN News, I have to say, Stugotz, your hair today is glorious. I don't know what you did.
I don't know what's going on. No, I don't know what's going on. I can't look at myself right now, to be quite honest. A little spiky in the back here. I don't know what's happening. I let it grow out too much. I don't know what's happening here.
Okay, it's impressive, but what's not impressive, Stugotz, and I need to get to the bottom of this, because you are, in many levels, you're the three-syllable guy. You're not an athlete. You're an athlete, okay? You were a tremendous lacrosse player in college. Why didn't you compete in the American Ninja Warrior thing with the rest of the show?
I had a lacrosse mitzvah that weekend. I had a combination lacrosse tournament and a bar mitzvah. It's my two go-to excuses when I don't want to do something. Trey, did you see how painful that looked? Did you see what happened to our producers? Did you see what happened to a meet? Yeah, there's no way I'm doing that. I'm 44 years old. There's no way I'm doing that and surviving that. It's not happening.
For those that aren't sure what we're talking about, like American Ninja Warrior, loved the show, was in Miami, and before they had a taping that night, they had the announcers there and everything, and players in the Le Batard show went through it. So who all went through it, Stugotz?
Mike Ryan, right? Roy?
Yeah, Mike Ryan. All of our producers went through it. Amin Al-Hassan went through it. Le Batard was there, did not go through it. He was cheering the guys on. I did not go through it as well. So basically the entire shipping container, Amin Al-Hassan and some of our TV producers as well.
And Guillermo, I think, made it the furthest. Did he make it to the third obstacle, but then fell backward into the water, I believe?
Yes, he came so close. And Guillermo is a sneaky good athlete. Like, he doesn't look like one, he doesn't sound like one, but he is he is ripped, he is jacked, and he's a very, very good athlete. But, Mike, you wouldn't do that, right? Trey, I know you wouldn't do it. Mike, there's no way you're doing that thing, right?
No shot. How quickly the pin would pop out of my shoulder or I would just fall into that water would be ridiculous. I watch it and say, man, would I want to try that? And then I watch what they have to do, and I said, there's no way on God's green earth I would last too long in that thing.
Look, there's no way Wingo's doing it.
No,
there's no way Wingo's doing it. Yeah, Trey, it takes me like 48 hours to recover from a round of golf. Like, imagine doing that.
No chance. I mean, watching Mike Ryan try to hang on for dear life on the things that people jump left to right. Look, I'm laughing with him, not at him. I want him to be clear about that, because he did something that I wouldn't even think about doing, but I was a little disappointed that you didn't participate. All right, we'll move on. We'll move on.
Okay. And by the way, Mike Ryan, that's a 30-year-old man in peak physical condition. Yeah. Okay. Like, Mike's in good shape.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
It was something to behold. Yeah. U.S. Open. Who do you got?
Yes.
Who do you got?
Trey, you're going? You're taking your yacht, huh? This is our day today, Trey. I'm surprised you're focused. I'm surprised you're even talking to me with Mickelson teeing off right now.
Well, I'm sort of like split between. I'll be there this weekend. Who do you like? Who are you taking?
You know, it's interesting, Trey. Listen, we all want the storylines on Sunday, right? We want Tiger, we want Phil. I don't think either of those guys are going to win. I do desperately want to see both those guys kind of in the mix on Sunday. I'd love to see Phil win his first U.S. Open. It'd be such a great story. He's only got a couple of realistic cracks at this thing, right? He's maybe got 2 or 3 more where you think, okay, Phil has a realistic chance of actually going out and winning the U.S. Open. Going to be 50 soon. So I want those two guys to be in the mix. I would love one of those two guys to win. I just don't think it's going to happen. I know everyone's raving about Tiger, but he hasn't putted well enough, Trey, for me to be convinced that Tiger's going to go out and win a U.S. Open. Like, I heard what you said earlier. He hasn't won one of those ancillary tournaments. It's hard to think he's going to go out there, and the first win he's going to get in quite some time is going to be at Shinnecock at the U.S. Open. I'm going to go here with 2 guys. I got 2 guys, if you don't mind. I think Dustin Johnson's playing as well as Dustin Johnson has been playing since he had that injury before Augusta last year, or 2 years ago, I should say. And then I think Jason Day. Jason Day at one point, I think many people thought right after he won that major, was the best player in the world. Then took a step back, and you're starting to see signs of Jason Day becoming one of the 2 or 3 best players in the world. So I'm going to go Dustin Johnson or Jason Day as the U.S. Open winner this year.
Again,
what do you got, Trey?
Real quickly, I'm going with one of the Justins, either Justin Thomas or Justin Rose. This is a course. This is a course, by the way, that I think is going to set up pretty well. What the score is going to be close to what it was in 2004. I think 4 under 1. Marion was a very short golf course outside of Philadelphia, and basically the winning score in 2013 was the same as it was in the early 70s. It's just not a course you can score on. So I think the guys that keep it in the fairway, I like Justin Rose a lot and Justin Thomas.
Yeah, I love the grouping of Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, and Tiger, along with Phil, Rory, and Spieth in the grouping as well. As far as Tiger, we all understand, Stu, that if Tiger's doing well, the ratings go through the roof. Everybody loves, especially the networks. I get all that. But I heard people talking about saying, pick another young, great player. And if they had back surgery and missed all that time and were just 11 tournaments back, there is no way we would have any kind of expectations for them. Yet Tiger's the betting favorite at the Masters. We're all waiting for Tiger to win another tournament or a major. Are we overselling this? Are we hoping and thinking Tiger can do way too much for just coming back 11 tournaments after another surgery?
Mike, I think a lot of it is wishful thinking, right? We want Tiger to be there. We want Tiger to win this thing. We want Tiger to be in that final pairing and the final 2 pairings come Sunday at the U.S. Open. I'm just with you. I don't think it's realistic to expect that from Tiger at this point. So I think it's part of us wanting him to be there. And then I think people, like Andy North said it great. I heard him on your show, guys. He's hitting the ball as well as ever. He's just not putting the ball as well as ever. And I think there's a belief out there that Tiger Woods, if he's playing his A game, and the putter is working, that A game is still better than anyone else's A game on tour. The way he's hit the ball, if you look at the stats of how he's hitting the ball now and what he was doing actually before he had the back surgery, it's incredible. He really is playing well. I just don't trust the putter. But if you can put it all together, then I think there's a belief out there that his A game is still the best in the world. Trey, is that fair?
I do think that's fair.
Turn your mic on.
Sorry,
you are a professional.
I was watching Phil Mickelson. Sorry.
I know you were. I should have asked Mike that. My bad.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. You take it then.
I don't even know what he said.
He didn't hear the question.
No, he didn't.
I wasn't listening.
I knew he wasn't listening either. All right, Stu, let's focus. Yes. Let's focus on this then. I hear you still are giving Kevin Durant no credit whatsoever. He still doesn't have a championship in your personal record book.
No, he does not.
Why?
Listen, I know a lot of people.
Why?
I know a lot because he took listen, Trey, you want to know what validation looks like? You want to know what it feels like? You want to know what blood, sweat, tears, all that hard work looks like? It looks like Alexander Ovechkin, okay? That's how you do it in professional sports. That's the way fans want you to do it, Trey, whether you agree with me or not. Yeah! I am telling you, that's the perception. That's how fans want to do it. Okay? It's not, hey, I can't beat the Pittsburgh Penguins, so I'm going to go join the Pittsburgh Penguins. No, I'm going to come back again with these teammates, this organization, this team for this city. I'm going to climb that mountain. I don't care how many times it takes me. And Ovechkin finally climbed the mountain, and he let all the emotion out at the end because that's what sports is supposed to look like and feel like. It's not supposed to be, hey, I can't beat the Golden State Warriors, therefore I'm going to join the Golden State Warriors. It's just a different thing, and I left a voicemail for Golic this week. Trey, you weren't here. I'll tell you, Mike, if Reggie White, you couldn't beat the Redskins. If Reggie White, you love Reggie White, Mike, more than outside of your family, I'm guessing you love Reggie White more than most things in your life, Mike. If Reggie White decided, hey, I'm tired of Golic. I'm tired of Clyde Simmons. I'm tired of these guys. I've carried this defense for years. I am leaving the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm going to join the Washington Redskins. Mike Golic, you would not be a fan of that move by Reggie White. You would not.
Yeah, listen, the more I thought about that, the more I understand. Now, I don't know if Reggie would sit down with us and say, hey, I'm tired of carrying you guys, and I'm leaving you. I don't know if I don't think Reggie would do something like that. Right. But it would be, now we went to Green Bay and won a Super Bowl, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. To a team that had just previously beaten you. That would be a tough pill to swallow. I understand that, but yeah. It wouldn't negate the fact that he won a Super Bowl.
Right.
I mean, so I'm not on Durant like a lot of other people, including you are. He has a right to move, and he moves somewhere. I mean, this is a day and age where guys are doing this to win championships. What's the last team where guys didn't move around to win a championship?
Right, and Mike, it's a little bit different in football because Reggie White leaving still doesn't guarantee the other team a championship, right? But in the NBA, one guy means so much because you're only playing 5 at a time. one guy means so much. One guy could change the fortunes of your entire franchise. And so for Kevin Durant just to leave Oklahoma City, which essentially ended their chances of winning a championship, and then going to a team that was already considered an all-time great, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like that's what sports is all about. Hey, because we all agree Kevin Durant was one of the 2 or 3 best players before he left for Golden State. And I think eventually Kevin Durant would have won a championship with Russell Westbrook, and I would have liked to seen it done that way. And I think he would have gotten the validation that he is so desperately seeking had he done it that way. He's not going to get it in Golden State. Yeah. He might get it from Trey. He might get it from some other people. He's not going to get universal validation by playing with that team. They were already great before he got there.
Instead, he'll just take millions in championship rings instead of our validation.
That's fine.
He is the spicy and spiky Stugotz from the Dan Le Batard Show.
Thanks,
we'll see you next week at Pinehurst, okay?
Yes, that's the U.S. Open. Forget about this weekend. Yeah. Next weekend's the U.S. Open.
It'll be great. And this is just for you, Stugotz. Yeah! That's Obi at the party. There you go. Yeah!
And by the way, I've noticed Devin has not met a microphone he doesn't like. I mean, geez, the guy. I mean, God, he talks more than you, Trey.
He takes over from Brett when Brett's not here doing our research.
Yeah, I know. It is a good thing the guys on your show don't talk about it
never.
either. Yeah.
All right, get out of here. We gotta go. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
Golic and Wingo.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold. It's very interesting where that went.
AARP can help you become your healthiest self. It's why we offer health tips for your body and your brain. So take on today and every day with AARP. Learn how at takeontoday.aarp.
We got the World Cup coming back in 2026. And I've been hearing this. By the way, Phil is now 3 over pars. He just missed another par putt. I've been hearing this since 1994. I was working in St. Louis when the World Cup came in 1994, and it was the most attended World Cup. I think almost 4 million people attended. It was great. The TV ratings were good. This is going to be the boom for soccer. As a soccer guy, has soccer taken off in this country to where you thought it would be at this point?
It's definitely grown by a lot, but it's so splintered because people watch the U.S. national team, some people watch Major League Soccer. Not enough, but we're certainly getting there. I think the development of the Premier League here as a television property has blown up and people have fans. But
our kids watch it. I know that for a fact.
You know what's great about it is that it's early in the morning and you can watch. This is what's great about the World Cup. People complain about the hours, but now you wake up, you can do a little sneaky, get on your phone and watch Russia, Saudi Arabia.
Right.
And that is very appealing. So I think the hours are good, but when you're colliding with the American sports, there's some issues. I think having a World Cup only helps that, but for it to be really successful, the U.S. has to be successful, and there's going to be a trickle-down effect from there.
So a couple of things. First, as far as a homegrown player, Christian Pulisic. So he's playing over in Germany now.
Bundesliga.
And I
just like saying Bundesliga.
I know
Bundesliga.
you do. I've asked this because I'm looking to be educated some on this. Is it better to have our best player playing overseas and being, on the grand stage of the world, or to be at home where you can see him in the MLS? And most are saying overseas, but at some point, do you want them to play here where you can actually go watch? How should that teeter-totter kind of go?
We've discussed this a lot, and we're all trying to figure out where the development of the player kind of goes awry. And it's right. Kids are really well equipped by coaches here in the United States till they're 13, 14. And then after that, that's that void. That's where the development kind of flattens out. And I think that's where these young kids, if they have the talent, are better equipped to go to Europe, where they have coaching up the yin-yang. The thing with American coaching...
That's a technical term, by the way, yin-yang coaching.
It's a German term. I got it from the Bundesliga coverage.
But had a lot of yin-yang, but...
Maybe I'll go with that. Mm-hmm. But I think that's where it is. A lot of coaches here, once you get to the 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old group, they're looking to get to the next thing where they're coaching professionally or in college or what have you. But that's the gray area where we need to keep developing. And I think Pulisic and Weston McKennie and a bunch of other kids from the United States go there and they're immersed in it. It's kind of in reverse where you see these European kids like Giannis coming over here and getting better at NBA, or guys who go to college do that. That's
way
where
to
it goes.
On Antetokounmpo, by the way.
I never say that. He said it himself. He goes, call me Giannis. Go, done.
Giannis, done.
So let me go the route a lot of people go is when kids are playing soccer, they get to a certain age and then they go over to the sports where you can make money, as they say. But whenever we do the highest paid athletes, soccer players are always at the top. So now I'm not saying you always go to the top of it, but answer me this. So you have football where basically it's the NFL where you can make a lot of money. and you certainly can make some money in the Canadian Football League and arena, but not at NFL level and not a ton, okay?
Yep.
Baseball.
And not for a long time either.
Baseball in the minors, you can go play, outside the country as well. Basketball, you can go play somewhere. But soccer, there's a lot of places to go play as well, right? You have MLS, but I mean outside the country. So from a money standpoint, talk about a kid growing up and getting to the age where he's really good and can play a lot of the sports, maybe not at the top to make that huge money, but would their best odds still be worldwide to be soccer with the most chances to make a really good living? This, again, I don't know.
I think for length of career, yes, because football, in the NFL, it's like 5-6 years average is the longest, is the average of a career. Baseball makes sense, but you have Major League Baseball, and other than that, you maybe play in Japan. But in Europe, and you have the European leagues, you have all these countries have leagues that are developing. So I think in China now, if you're 35, you're in the twilight of your career and you're a great player, you can go make a ton of money over there. So if you're okay with traveling, there's a lot of options.
See, I'm talking really about the kid at the age to make that decision.
If you gave him this information and you'd say, hey, can you look what's ahead of you. These are possibilities. You might have to you will get out of your comfort zone because you're not going to be at home in the United States. I hate traveling. I love to travel. I hate leaving the United States because the creature comforts are here. But we have to, if you're really serious about it and you can tell these guys you can have a long career and you could play in Europe, you can come back home in Major League Soccer as many American players have. Mm-hmm. It's a good living if you are one of those top athletes that can do it.
All right. So outside of, those two guys that you mentioned, who is the next best guy that we're counting on? Because you got to have more than a couple of guys to make your team tremendous. That's the difference in soccer than almost any other sport.
Well, it's pretty good right now. For whatever reason, there's a lot of young kids. Some who the last couple World Cup cycles when Jurgen Klinsmann was there had these German kids, American kids who were from German servicemen there, and that kind of brought the attention of a worldwide scope to where you get the next players. And this last group that didn't make the World Cup was a little bit older in the tooth, and now this new group, this is maybe the good thing that comes out of missing the World Cup. Yeah, there's these young players that are afforded opportunities now, and they just played. And there's a guy, Josh Sargent, who's playing in Germany. He's 18, 19. He's doing very well. Timothy Weah is the son of George Weah, who was a former World Footballer of the Year. He's now the president of Liberia. He plays at Paris Saint-Germain, but the U.S. has got the hook in them. And these guys, as long as they keep on the right path, there's a lot of talent. I have not seen this much good young talent between ages of 17 and 20 ever in the United States.
Okay, so now we have the talent.
At one time. Yeah.
How are we at developing that in the United States? Where are we there as far as growth?
I think we have room for growth in that. And I think with the changes happening in in U.S. soccer, there's an opportunity here to bring in a little bit more know-how. Money allows you to do that. I think hosting the World Cup is a huge money stream where you can start preparing for that because, look, money's changed everything. They develop it in Germany. They spend $500 million in Germany. They spend $500 million in England for player development. We're in like the 120, 140. If we can get that up a little bit, money talks and coaches come and you can bring that and develop players. And that's the next step. But you need people with soccer know-how, whether in the United States, and they are here, or if you're going to go overseas, and not just Europe, South America, Argentina, there's people who will be loving to come here and help coach who would know at a very high level.
Okay, Max Bretos from Max and Herc Podcast, the voice of LAFC, is with us in studio today. Instead of LA, he's joining us, and we appreciate that.
We're not in LA? I thought...
Don't tell anybody. It feels like it outside, though, right now. All right, you mentioned Jurgen Klinsmann. A lot of people were blaming him for some of the problems that the U.S. soccer team has had. Yes or no? Do you agree with that?
Everyone has to shoulder some.
I asked that for a reason.
Okay.
So.
Well, I know everyone has to shoulder the burden. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of finger pointing still going on, and I'm over it. Let's start thinking of solutions. But Jurgen Klinsmann, he took a few missteps along the way, and he wanted to be empowered a lot, and that kind of blew up in his face a bit. Maybe he didn't get to the comfort levels with the players and the U.S. scene as much as he could.
Okay, so the reason why I'm asking him, because one of the best teams in the world just sacked their manager, despite the fact that he was undefeated as the manager, and that we're talking about Spain. So does this team need a manager? Are they that good? I mean, how much is this going to affect one of the betting favorites in the World Cup?
It's hard to say. I don't think it's going to affect them too much. The only thing that I can see that could rear its ugly head for Spain. Okay, you have the old coach who comes in. He has his starting 11 already in his vision. Because he's a starting 11. A new coach could come in and go, well, I like this guy better at center back. I like this guy at forward. That could really cause disarray. I mean, I don't think they're going to shake it too much. They have to be smart about the prospects. Hey, we have to make this change right now, and this is the way it's going to be. Let's minimize the amount of disarray as much as possible. But this is unprecedented, and the premise of how it happened is bizarre, and it's the fact that he's going to Real Madrid, where internally there's a Real Madrid camp and a Barcelona camp. Yep. It's the Capulets and the Montagues. They don't like each other.
Look at you, Romeo and Juliet reference.
Some light reading on the way.
I do like that.
Plane.
By the way, Riley just sent me some info on the MLS. Yeah. As of 2016, the average salary was $316,000. The median, the middle, was $117,000, which is still a pretty good living. Go outside the four majors to their minor system, and would you make that? So if you didn't make it in the NFL, are you making that in the CFL? Some are. Are you making that in minor league baseball? Are you making that overseas in the NBA and in basketball? I know certainly some are, but a median, an average, average and median are two different things. It's a pretty nice payday, and that's here. That's not even before you even go overseas. And like you said, you can go overseas and come back and play in the MLS as well.
Right, correct. And that has made huge strides. And there was leak's not the right word, but someone leaks the salaries of all the players. And like 10, 15 years ago, there were guys making $12,000. It wasn't strong. The league got a lot of backlash because of it, but now they've upped it, and that's going to continue to grow. But that's allowed them to invest more in American players and overseas. They have to focus a little bit more on the American players because that's you want these guys to come in and say, hey, I want to make money here in my own country.
Okay, so Max is with us, Max Bretos, who knows everything about soccer. By the way, did you know this about Max? He was a former male model. Did you know this?
Were you really?
Yeah. I had to pay the bills.
I mean,
look at that. I mean, literally the moneymaker.
Can I ask you something, though? I mean, if you have that on your resume and you hand somebody, they know you're a guy. Do you have to say male model? He was a model.
Correct.
Okay, I mean, you don't need to say male model.
The male models have a much better run at it because when we were with the female models were very young, they had their moms there. It wasn't the guys can go out and have a good time.
Right.
And it was a great experience to go overseas and try. And sometimes you don't work. And then I was in Italy, you would have to find work or either call your mom. So we'd do odd jobs, but it was we'd do cement mixing. Sometimes we just sit there at a club and dance. It's weird.
You are the world's most interesting human.
That's pretty cool.
Cement mixing in Milan.
And friends with Charlize Theron, right?
Yeah, I knew her when she was very young and sort of point her in the right direction. I go, stop the modeling, do the acting thing. You got talent.
There you go. Give her direction.
Let me just say, Max.
Bravo.
All right, well done, my friend. All right, so you got to help us with our draft. Okay, look, by the way, let's tell everybody what our teams are because everybody knows the entire team. With the first pick, I went out on a limb. I eschewed Germany because they're the defending champs. I eschewed Brazil. I went Spain with my first overall pick.
You did.
Which is kind of out on a limb. Then I went England second. Then Iceland, and I've taken Switzerland and Mexico. So that's my team.
My team is France, Belgium, Poland, Uruguay, and Nigeria. So, Devin, who is Mike's team? You're picking for my son who's on a plane.
Yeah, so Brazil, Portugal, Croatia, Egypt, and Denmark.
Okay, and Stanzik, what's the staff have?
I'm not going to go in order. I'll go in order of groups. We have Russia, Argentina, Serbia, Germany, and Colombia.
So clearly I have the best team right now.
So I'll tell you what, the cruise is the worst by far.
Yeah! Yeah!
I'm sorry if I chipped. Did I give you advice on that? That one's not very good. There's a lot of dicey teams there.
Wow, I like that a lot. You guys
I like dicey? Mike Senior's best, I think.
Yes!
But
yes!
I'm sorry, Trey. Yours is close up there too. You're very strong.
No, it's not. He was just being nice.
The middle of what you gave me was a little soft there.
But we had to pick somebody.
So here's the deal. Right. We each are going to have 8 teams.
There's good value around here.
You can't pick 2. You have to pick only
Tremendous
one team.
Upside.
One team from each group. So now we're kind of in a dicey situation where we have to go where we don't have a team in that group. So this is the 6th round, and I have the first pick. There's no need for me to pick Costa Rica because all the other teams that have been picked in there, I'm going to get them no matter what.
And they're getting shelled. I would stay away from Costa Rica.
So I'm not.
Plus
I don't have to worry
bags
about
of urine at the opposing fans.
So here are my choices,
good.
Max. Here are my choices.
Okay,
Morocco, Iran, Sweden, South Korea. Those are my choices right now. And I have the pick right now. So who am I taking?
Okay, so of those 4. The most talented team to me is Morocco. They have some good older players, have some really good younger. These North African teams are very good. So Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, as you can see in Africa, all the North African teams qualified. The rest of the continent, not as much. because of what happened to Spain, who is in Morocco's group, and because Portugal is a little older in the tooth, I like that pick.
Morocco. That's who I'm picking. Boom. There it is. Morocco.
The other options aren't terrible.
So who's next?
We're next, and to improve the greatest team going of this entire draft, we are going to take Peru.
Peru,
I like a lot as well.
Yeah, about time.
All right, there you go. You upgraded. They have the best coach in the tournament.
Devin, you're picking for my son?
Yes, I need some help actually here.
Okay.
So I'm thinking between Senegal, Japan, or Sweden.
Senegal. I have Senegal. That's my one or two surprise teams.
Really?
They have a great striker, and they have a great center back. If you get those two, you fill the gaps. The guy, Sadio Mane, is going to score a lot of goals. I like Senegal.
There you go. Senegal. Wow.
Senegal. Max Bretos is here with us. He willingly and gladly stayed over to help us go through our picks in the World Cup.
The draft is pretty much done, though, because we have to have one team in each of the 8 groups.
Yeah.
You guys did great. You didn't need my help, quite frankly.
We're kind of locked in.
Really good.
Like I have 2 left, and it has to be, Costa Rica and South Korea. So I have to have those 2 teams. You're locked in. What is Trey locked into, Dan?
I've got to pick Japan at some point, right?
Yeah, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Australia. So you're locked in. You have no more picks to make. So Max has all the teams in front of him.
So I've got Japan. I'm taking Japan now with my pick. Is that what I'm doing?
You're taking the 3 teams I just mentioned.
The draft is over. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
All right.
So now let's go through the entire team. My team is Spain, England, Iceland, Mexico, Switzerland, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and Australia.
Okay, I have France, Belgium, Poland, Uruguay, Nigeria, Morocco, Costa Rica, and South Korea. Devin, who is picking for my son, who does Mike have?
I don't have him in front
Brazil,
of me.
Brazil, Portugal, Croatia, the Faroes, greatest name, Denmark, Senegal, Sweden, and Panama.
And Dan Showstaff, what do you got?
Germany, Argentina, Russia, Colombia, Serbia, Peru, Iran, and Tunisia.
Okay, Max.
Rate them. 1 through 4.
Okay. What do you
First
think?
of all, better nickname, Tunisia, the Eagles of Carthage.
Like
I love that.
Like
that
it.
one's legit.
Oh, we need jerseys.
Yeah.
We need something.
They're nice. They're nice.
Wow.
Okay, so
no, hold on. You got to do this in your Sean Connery voice and do them 4-1. So who's off the podium at 4?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say all this crying about Italy and the United States not making about. What about my Scotland? We have great players there, going back to the 30s. Now we got diddly poo. All right, let's take a look at this.
Who's 4th?
Okay, 4th goes to the show stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Losers.
Not by a lot, but 4th nonetheless, I'm afraid. You missed the podium, and you'll go home in tears.
All right, who has the bronze?
Who's got the bronze medal?
The bronze, I'm going with Trey.
Oh,
again,
man.
Yeah. Trey, I would say the gold is within your reach, but a couple picks there slid you down the.
Which ones did it?
Your back end: Japan, Saudi Arabia, Australia, and the Swiss.
Yeah, not a lot.
The Swiss are bad.
Without
news.
Zlatan.
Okay, so who's got the
That's
silver?
Sweden.
I knew that.
Who's got the silver, which means the other has the gold?
I need a second for this.
All
okay.
right. It's between me and my son right now.
Mike, because you're sitting next to me and you're a lot larger than I am and you play professional football, I say you get the gold medal.
Yeah! All right, there you go. If only that was the way it was awarded, okay? So right now we've got seniors team is the best, followed by juniors,
right?
Followed by me, and the show staff is last. However, we'll find out how it plays out.
Yeah, it's a whole point system. Again, you can see our picks at Golic and Wingo on Twitter. Golic Wingo is our Instagram. Allie has it all picked out how where the point system is at it. She tries to explain. Our head will explode.
Here it is.
You're going to really explain this?
Yes. You make it out of the round, you get a point. 4th place, 2 points. 3rd place, 3 points. 2nd place, 4 points. 1st place, 5 points. There you go.
Okay.
Now here's the real question.
Okay.
Max, as Max Bretos
wasn't
is
as hard as I thought.
No, I was about to say you went to Notre Dame for crying out loud.
Nice.
You went
I'm
to Notre
making
Dame.
money on this.
Pretty easy.
So Max Bretos is here from the Max and Herc podcast, the voice of the LAFC. Now, more important, obviously, than our silly little NCAA pool that we're doing here for the World Cup. When it's all said and done, who do you think the 2 teams that'll be playing in the final? Who will be playing in the final when it's all said and done in 3 weeks?
I hate going
chalk.
I hate it with a passion.
You're going Germany and Brazil, aren't you?
And I actually went Brazil and Spain.
Yeah!
But
But
I'm switching it up because
Damn it.
last night I had this vision that England's going to win their group, and that threw the whole bracket out of whack. So
I have England, and you still don't like my team. Man, okay, go ahead.
I'm moving you to silver. Golic Jr.
No, don't do that. Don't let him talk
It's so
into
close.
That. He's just whining
I just
over
want to
here.
reiterate how great of a job you guys did. And
look, let me be clear.
I want winners. I want people that want to win.
There you go.
Is that Singletary? It's great.
Yeah.
It's a little nuts.
Can't do it. But so I'm going with Brazil beating Belgium. Brazil, it's very difficult for anyone outside of Europe to win a European World Cup. It hasn't happened before. So this Brazil team has a big task ahead of them, especially out in Russia, which is east Europe. But they're so good everywhere. And Belgium is a team that can excite and have some fun and get after it. I mean, that's a bit of a leap. I think I think that their timing's off a little bit, and the Spanish coaching thing is going to hurt them at the end, at least to get to a final.
Hey, when we first started this draft, I threw out there on Twitter, listen, not a soccer guy, I need help. Who would you draft? And most of the people were saying Belgium. They were talking about you have them in the final.
They're viewing
Brazil,
them as an outsider, but they're not.
Right.
This is their time.
I guess one of the first sleepers.
But they're not.
After like the top.
If you want to go for a sleeper, you go for a Colombia or Peru or Senegal. But I mean, Belgium is so talented. I think timing is perfect for them. Everyone's like 28, 29. You get into your mid-30s or early 30s, the ship has sailed. You're too young. You're too green for this. All those guys that they are going to depend on fall in that area where they're at the right time. So,
all right, Max, before we let you go, real quickly, bigger surprise that they're not in the World Cup, Italy or the Netherlands? Because hasn't the Netherlands been to the most finals without ever winning it?
Yeah. I would say the Netherlands, and I'll say Italy, the signs were there that they weren't going to qualify because they, to the point of going to an older generation, 4 years ago, they flamed out of the World Cup in Brazil, lost to Costa Rica. So when they didn't qualify, I wasn't super surprised because they didn't make the adjustments to get on the up and up. We did kind of the same thing. But I think Italy, people were surprised. I don't think I was that shocked. The Netherlands, their talent kind of dried up, but I always thought they found a way because they have their certain style that can get through. But they'd still, to be honest, I'm not super surprised either one are not there. I think the best teams are there.
I just wanted to say Ruud van Nistelrooy. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Max, you're the best.
You guys are awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Max Bretos. Now go back to LA.
Because he picked me number one.
There you go. I hate you.
This has been the Best of Golic and Wingo podcast. You can listen or subscribe on the ESPN app, Apple Podcasts, or just ask your smart speaker to play Golic and Wingo. Plus, you can check the guys out live weekday mornings from 6 to 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN News.